As the war between the factions raged on, Drustvar became a battleground once more. During the faction assaults, the Order of Embers stood steadfast alongside the Purified, battling against the Horde to protect the region and its people from both external threats and the lingering darkness of the Drust. However, even after the fall of the Heartsbane Coven, the threat of dark magic in Drustvar did not fade. By the time of the war against the Jailer, remnants of the Covenant still lurked in the shadows, guarding Goloneth under the command of Gorak Tul. There, they protected the Flame of Oblivion, a powerful artifact infused with a portion of Gorak Tul's essence, ensuring his influence persisted. The struggle against these lingering threats continued well beyond the major conflicts of Azeroth. During the rise of the Dragon Isles, Marshal Joan Cleardawn was seen at the T&W trading post in Stormwind, acquiring new weaponry to aid Drustvar's garrison in their ongoing battle against the witches. The need for arms was a grim reminder that the Drust's curse had not yet been fully extinguished. Yet time weaves its own fate. 42 years after the Dark Portal opened, following the destruction of Dalaran on the Isle of Dorne, Talia Fordragon proclaimed that no otherworldly witches remained in Kul Tiras. Whether its declaration marked the true end of the Drust's influence or merely a lull in their inevitable return remains uncertain. Nestled along the rugged western coast of Drustvar lies Anyport, a bustling smuggler's cove often referred to simply as the Cove. A haven for merchants, outlaws, and those who prefer to operate beyond the watchful eyes of the Kul Tiran authorities. Anyport thrives on illicit trade and shifting allegiances. When Alliance adventurers first arrive, they find the town under the iron grip of Richard Tornsail, a ruthless captain of the Irontide Raiders. However, opportunity lurks in the shadows. The ambitious goblin entrepreneur, Ceci Loosecannon, sees potential in reclaiming the Cove for honest, if still somewhat questionable, commerce. She enlists adventurers to help drive out the pirates and restore the town to its former business-friendly status. For Horde adventurers, Anyport is already open for trade, serving as a key stop along the Horde war campaign. Here, merchants and smugglers alike cater to those who seek rare goods and illicit wares, no questions asked. Within the town, the Low Tide Tavern offers a gathering place for weary travelers, tucked beneath the wreckage of a broken night elf ship. For those seeking stronger drinks and looser lips, the infamous Drunk Tank floats just north of Anyport, its rickety platform promising both revelry and potential peril. Aram Stand, a resilient bastion in the heart of Drustvar, bears the name of House Waycrest, the first lord of the region. Steeped in history and defiance, the town now serves as a stronghold of the Order of Embers, a force dedicated to combating the lingering darkness of the Drust. In the wake of Corlane's fall, many refugees sought shelter within its fortified walls. But even here, danger lurked. The Heartsbane Coven, ever insidious, managed to infiltrate Aram's Stand under the leadership of the cunning Sister Littlefield, weaving their dark influence from within. As the war gripped Drustvar, Aram's Stand became a critical point of defense. During the faction assaults, a contingent of devoted Alliance warriors, humans, Draenei, dwarves, and Lightforged Draenei, rallied under the banner of the Purified. Empowered by the light, they stood unwavering against the Horde, ensuring that the town remained a beacon of resistance amidst the encroaching darkness. In the aftermath of Thomas Zelling's transformation into Forsaken, his wife Julia Zelling sought refuge in Aram's Stand alongside their children, Hannah and Matthew. When Thomas questioned Rexxar about how they could afford such sanctuary, the Beastmaster revealed that Lillian Voss had personally ensured their well-being, providing for them in their time of need. Now I want to go into more detail about Thomas Zelling, as he isn't a character I knew anything about. By the time of the Fourth War, Thomas Zelling was a devoted Tide Sage, a husband to Julia, and a father to two children, Hannah and Matthew. However, his life was overshadowed by a terminal illness, and rather than let his family witness his slow decline, he chose to leave them behind. In his solitude, he was approached by Rexxar and Lillian Voss, who sought his knowledge. In return, Zelling questioned Voss about undeath, specifically whether resurrection as a Forsaken would rid him of his affliction. Desperate for a cure, he turned to forbidden void magic, attempting to heal himself with the Book of Forbidden Magics. However, his efforts were thwarted when the tome was confiscated by Commander Augustine. Still seeking answers, he delved deeper, questioning whether undeath would strip away the disease. Citing the case of Captain Amalia Stone and wondering whether she had lost her mind upon being raised. When the Horde sought his assistance in recovering the body of Marshal Valentine, Zelling saw his opportunity. He struck a deal. In exchange for his resurrection, he would serve the Forsaken, provided his family was protected. Lillian Voss agreed, and upon his death, the Valkyr Kira raised him into undeath. Overcome with joy, he rushed to reunite with his wife and children, believing they would welcome his return. Instead, they recoiled in horror, unable to recognize him. His children screamed in terror, and in his anguish, he lashed out, further frightening them. As his family fled, Zelling was left behind to fully embrace his new existence among the Forsaken, ensuring Voss would keep her word in safeguarding them. Despite his transformation and his past experiments with void magic, Zelling remained firm in his beliefs. He viewed the Tide Sages who had aligned themselves with N'Zoth and Queen Azshara as lost, having forsaken their sacred path to serve forces they could not comprehend, bringing harm to Kul Tiras and dishonor to their order. In service to the Horde, Zelling proved invaluable. He led them to the wreck of the Kul Tiran Third Fleet, where they recovered the bodies of Marshal M. Valentine and Derek Proudmoore. Later, when the Alliance infiltrated the Banshee's Whale, he used Tide Sage abilities to summon water barriers, shielding Tattersail and the crew. His mastery of water magic extended beyond defense. He later aided the Horde in retrieving the Abyssal Scepter. Zelling continued to fight for his new faction, joining Rexxar in an assault on the Norrington estate to claim Azeroth after the Alliance had defeated the treacherous Ashvane Company. Following the battle, he inquired about his family's well-being. Rexxar informed him that Julia had bought a home in Arm's Stand and that his children were well cared for. Grateful, Zelling expressed his appreciation to both Rexxar and Lillian Voss. Yet Rexxar cautioned him. Kul Tiras was no longer a place he could call home, and he had to be careful. As time passed, Zelling found himself at odds with Sylvanas Windrunner's cruelty. He was appalled by the forced undeath and conditioning of Derek Proudmoore and secretly aided Bane Bloodhoof in smuggling the young Proudmoore back to his sister Jaina. But Sylvanas soon uncovered the betrayal. To make an example of him, she ordered his public execution before the gathered Horde leadership, a grim warning that disloyalty would not be tolerated. In his final moments, Zelling met his end with quiet dignity. Lillian Voss vowed to continue looking after his family, and should they ever ask what had become of him, she would tell him he had died a hero. Thousands of years ago, House Waycrest secured its dominion over Drustvar by vanquishing the Drust, ensuring the safety of all Kul Tiras. From that moment, they ruled as the region's lords, presiding from the grand halls of Waycrest Manor, nestled in the heart of Khorlain. Due to its site and proximity to the manor, Khorlain flourished as Drustvar's cultural and military hub. Yet it would also be the first to fall when darkness crept into the land once more. Unknown to the people, the Heartsbane Coven of Witches had taken root in Khorlain, founded and secretly led by Lady Waycrest herself. Over weeks, she bent the city's guards to her will and lured many citizens into her growing coven. Those who resisted remained troubled but oblivious to the true horror lurking in their midst, until it was too late. When Lady Waycrest finally moved against the city, the Heartsbane swiftly seized control, enslaving or slaughtering the populace. Survivors fled to Arm's Stand, while the unfortunate ones who remained became slaves to the witch's sinister magic. As the coven's influence spread, Khorlain became its dark heart, while Lady Waycrest, known among her followers as the Mother, secluded herself within Waycrest Manor. The witches consolidated power in the city, training new recruits and deepening their hold on Drustvar. Many of Khorlain's defenders fell to the coven's corruption, and though some were enthralled against their will, a brigade of halberdiers under Captain Godspeed willingly pledged themselves to the Heartsbane. But hope was not lost. The newly reformed Order of Embers, led by Lady Lucille Waycrest, arrived at Khorlain's outskirts, determined to reclaim the city and end Lady Waycrest's reign. Establishing a foothold at Watchman's Rise, the Inquisitors launched their assault. The once loyal city guards, now mindless servants of the Coven, were beyond salvation and had to be put down alongside their wicked masters. In Lower Khorlain, the Inquisitors cut through the Coven's lieutenants and broke their grip over the enslaved townsfolk, freeing those who could still be saved. A powerful barrier blocked passage to Upper Khorlain and Waycrest Manor, a final line of defense against the Order. However, with silver harvested from the Bleak Hills mine, the Inquisitors fashioned explosives to shatter the gate. Pushing into the heart of the city, they waged a brutal battle against the Coven's strongest forces, cutting down the matrons who had orchestrated Khorlain's downfall. Their path clear, the Inquisitors stormed Waycrest Manor, where Lucille confronted her mother.
That's far enough.
Mother? Is that you?
I'm so glad you could join us, my dear. Your father has missed you so.
What? What have you done to him?
Be appreciative, girl. Not only is your father alive and well, but he will soon be Lord of all Kul Tiras. Come join us, child.
Keep away from her, you heartless witch!
Why, Marshal, that's no way to talk to a lady. I shall teach you some manners! You dear, and bring Lucille to my quarters, after you dispose of these pests. Come, Arthur!
As you wish, Mother.
Lady Waycrest, though powerful, was forced to retreat into the depths of the manor, pursued by the relentless inquisitors. In the darkness of the estate's cellar, they finally struck her down, delivering a decisive blow that shattered the Coven's grip over Drustvar. By the time of Yggdrasil's blooming, Corlane had been reclaimed. Though traces of death magic lingered in the air, the town had begun to flourish once more, its people no longer living in fear. Waycrest Manor, once a place of terror, was reopened under the guidance of Lucille Waycrest. Rather than restoring the estate to its former grandeur, Lucille prioritized its purification, ensuring that all remnants of the Heartsbane's dark legacy were destroyed. The aviary, once the pride of Corlane and twisted by the Coven's influence, was restored to its former glory. Freed from the dark magic, it became home to a new generation of fine falcons, a symbol of the town's rebirth and resilience. Fallhaven was once a simple and unassuming village, known for its fertile fields and thriving pig farms. Under the leadership of Mayor White, life in the village was peaceful, untouched by the larger conflicts that plagued Kul Tiras. That tranquility shattered with the arrival of Helena Gentle, a mysterious figure whose dark magic cursed the land. In an act of twisted sorcery, she froze the village in time, alive yet unyielding, trapped in an unnatural stasis. As communication with Fallhaven abruptly ceased, the Kul Tirans grew concerned and dispatched an Alliance adventurer to investigate. Upon arrival, the adventurer found the entire village eerily frozen, its people trapped in a moment in time, their lives stolen by Helena's magic. Determined to break the curse, the adventurer tracked down Helena Gentle, confronting her in a battle that ended with her demise. With her dark presence extinguished, the adventurer used the residual magic to destroy the towering effigy at the village's heart, unraveling the spell and setting the villagers free. In the wake of the ordeal, life in Fallhaven gradually returned to normal. By the time of Yggdrasil's blooming, the town had not only recovered, but had flourished. Merchants bustled through the streets, trade thrived, and a newly opened ceramics kiln became a symbol of the town's resilience. Yet despite the renewed prosperity, a lingering unease remained. Some villagers still whispered of the day their lives were stolen, wary that darkness might yet return to their doorstep. The Crimson Forest, also known as the Crimsonwood, lies shrouded in an eerie red canopy in the western reaches of Drustvar, just north of Falconhurst. Once a place of natural beauty, it became a cursed domain, infested with witches and their nightmarish constructs. The Heartsbane Coven twisted the land to suit their dark purpose, abducting villagers from Falconhurst, dragging them into the forest depths where a dreadful ritual was underway. Within the ruins of an ancient Drust site, the Coven sought to tear open the veil and summon their master from the abyssal realm of Thros. The remnants of the Drust civilization still lingered in the forest, their ruins holding dark secrets and arcane power. With the right ritual, one could use these ruins to traverse into Thros itself, stepping into the nightmarish domain where the Drust spirits roamed, forever bound by their unholy pacts. By the time of Yggdrasil's blooming, the Crimson Forest had begun to heal. The Heartsbane Coven was no more, their grasp on the land broken. Yet the scars of their presence remained. While the forest was considered safe compared to its haunted past, the local farmers and travelers still avoided venturing too deep, wary of the echoes of lingering magic. The ancient Drust ruins, once pulsing with malevolent energy, were largely reduced to rubble, and the hollow tree that had once served as a gateway to the blighted lands was burned to ash. ensuring that whatever horrors lurked beyond would remain forever sealed. An ancient Drust ruin named Gol Azagur lies on the western slopes of Mount Cortis in Drustvar, just south of Aram's Stand. This forsaken battlefield remains locked in an eternal struggle, where the special remnants of Kul Tiras soldiers clash against undead Drust warriors and their formidable runic constructs. It was here in the twilight of the Drust's reign that Gorak Tul's greatest champions made their final stand against the forces of House Waycrest, a battle that sealed the fate of their people. The ruins are adorned with towering carved stones, their weathered surfaces depicting tales of conquest and bloodshed. They chronicle the Drust's brutal victories over Kul Tiran settlements, as well as legendary duels between their leader Gorak Tul and the indomitable House Waycrest. These silent markers stand as grim testament to an age of conflict, their inscriptions whispering forgotten stories to those who dare to tread upon this haunted ground. On the eastern coast of Drustvar, a towering gnarled tree that has cast its shadow over the land for some time marks Hangman's Point. The site has long been a place of judgment, but not all who stood trial here were guilty. One of its most infamous trials was that of Lady Lucille Waycrest, who was accused of witchcraft by Constable Henry Framer and blamed for the curse that had befallen Fletcher's Hollow. As the noose loomed, an adventurer and Marshal Everett Reed intervened, determined to prove her innocence. The adventurer subjected Lucille to a series of tests, each proving she was not one of the Heartsbane witches. Yet Framer remained unconvinced, demanding an explanation for the dark affliction plaguing Fletcher's Hollow. Determined to uncover the truth, the adventurer and their allies investigated the town, soon discovering that the true culprits were the Heartsbane Coven. Armed with a letter from Mayor Evelyn Pear, they returned to Hangman's Point and presented the evidence to Framer, who begrudgingly released Lucille into the Marshal's custody. However, before they could leave, the Coven struck, launching a surprise attack on the group. After a fierce battle, the adventurer and their allies repelled the ambush, securing Lucille's safety. With the trial behind them, but the greater battle ahead, they set forth toward Aram's Stand, determined to end the Coven's reign of terror once and for all. Mount Cortis. The towering giant of southern Drustvar stands as the highest peak in all of Kul Tiras, its summit piercing the sky at an unmatched elevation. Though treacherous and steep, the mountain can be scaled by those with the right skills, or sheer determination. Near the summit, partially buried beneath the snow and stone, lies the remnants of a lone traveler. The bones, unmistakably those of a demon hunter, suggest a grim fate, though the circumstances of their demise remain shrouded in mystery. Higher still, at the very pinnacle of Mount Cortis, a small pile of debris rests among the windswept rocks. Nestled within the rubble, a simple yet mysterious sign bears a single word: First. Once a grand estate befitting Drustvar's ruling family, Waycrest Manor now stands as a foreboding monument to a mystery steeped in darkness. The halls that once echoed with the laughter of nobility have fallen silent, save for the hushed whispers of terrified townsfolk. Lord and Lady Waycrest inexplicably sealed themselves within its walls, and since that day, rumors of unspeakable horrors have spread like wildfire. Stories abound of eerie rituals performed in the dead of night, of townspeople vanishing without a trace, and of blood-curdling screams piercing the still air. Shadows dance unnaturally within its windows, and an unsettling presence lingers on the estate grounds, sending shivers down the spines of those who dare to pass by. Though speculation runs wild, one thing is certain. An ancient and malevolent force had taken root within Waycrest Manor, twisting it into something unrecognizable, something of pure evil. After making your way through the grand foyer, you come across the first to pledge themselves to the Heartsbane Coven. These siblings have each honed a unique and formidable mastery of dark magic. Bound by their thirst for greater power, they now turn their sights toward harnessing the energy of their focusing iris, a relic that could elevate their sorcery to terrifying new heights. Making your way further into the manor, you come across the soul-bound Goliath, which is a towering abomination, a nightmarish fusion of the tortured souls of the Kul Tirans it has consumed. Their anguished wails echo from deep within its form, an unending lament for those unfortunate enough to have fallen to its insatiable hunger. Bound by dark sorcery, the monstrosity roams in relentless pursuit, a relentless nightmare for the foolish souls who dare cross its path. The next boss you encounter is Rawl the Gluttonous, who was once the esteemed chef of the Waycrest household, known for his lavish feasts and culinary mastery. But now his once pristine kitchen is transformed into a grotesque chamber of horrors. Twisted by dark magic and an insatiable hunger, he prepares unspeakable dishes, serving portions of his own cursed flesh to the damned souls that haunt the halls of Waycrest Manor, ensuring that the feast never ends. Lady Waycrest desperately sought salvation in any power that would heed her call. It was Gorak Tul who answered, whispering promises of eternal unity, a bond that even death could not sever. But such a gift came at a terrible cost. 2,000 years ago, Gorak Tul and his ruthless Drust warriors waged war against the ancient defenders of Kul Tiras. In a final desperate battle, the Drust were vanquished, and Gorak Tul was cast into the Blighted Lands, imprisoned beyond the mortal realm. But his exile was not the end, only a pause. For centuries he lingered in the shadows, his hatred festering, his whispers reaching out to those who would listen. Now his influence has seeped back into Drustvar, corrupting its very heart. With the ruling seat compromised and his devoted followers working tirelessly to break his chains, Gorak Tul stands on the precipice of resurrection, ready to unleash his wrath upon the land once more. And that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you did enjoy. Do take care of yourself, and thanks for tuning in.